Push the button. I just pushed the button. All
Okay.
right. You happy
Yep.
now? Squirrel. So yeah, who's giving birth now?
Not me.
It's not me. But we talked about all the changes and the labor pains and all the crazy bit of business, and we're gonna just slam dunk right into all of this. Hey, welcome, welcome, Auric Vibe and lovely Stone Hobbit over here on my right. One of the things giving birth and energies and frequencies, and we covered a whole heck of a lot of ground. I had heard someone say a few years ago that the things that we see in the sky are not planets, but they are spheres and orbs of energies. And one of the things that this guy said was that Jupiter has that storm on it, but Jupiter had given birth at some point. And I think that people, humans, being so limited in their scope of understanding, associate giving birth with something that is feminine, which has nothing to do with it, especially when you're talking something outside of your physical body of what you relate to. We're talking about an energy that's in this, in the firmament. And this guy said that the last time that he was reading, I don't know, was he reading like books of Enoch, or he was reading some ancient writings, and he was saying that the last time Jupiter gave birth, that was the cataclysm
Mm,
that went across the
yep.
earth. And if I told you who the guy was, that would probably totally negate your belief in what he said, because a lot of people don't want to believe that we are. And I think there are ancient writings that say this, that we are, the earth is a corpse. We are living on the decay of the previous realms and existences and civilizations. I mean, they can dig down into the earth, and all these buildings have been built upon other buildings, and they can
Yeah.
just keep going.
Yeah. I agree with that.
So, yeah. So this whole thing of giving birth, and I think with some of the energies that are changing, where does that leave the awareness? How did this we even get off of this guy Morg?
I don't know. Squirrel
Morg,
again.
Morg official, yeah, squirrel. But I
Okay.
think
So
it was
like
be,
when you're talking about the layers, this is one of my little findings through my weirdness journeys that I have. Okay, this is a solid rock. Okay. And it came in a cluster of 12.
yep.
And when I saw it, I initially said that's an egg.
Hmm.
And you can see that there are layers to it.
Yep.
Okay. And one day when I was giving it a dust down, a whole layer came off. Okay. And there's this smoother layer that looks just like an egg.
Yeah, it's
And so,
almost like it could be the what do they call that? Anyway, the term escapes me,
yeah,
but it's basically when the minerals replace the cells of whatever it is, and it kind of petrifies it, so to speak.
yeah, yeah. So I mean, when then you've got the madness of man who builds his property on low-lying land when he hasn't the skills to survey it. And then when the floods do come, and they do come, whether it's 100 years, whether it's 10 years, or whether it's manipulated, they do come. And all of that housing and population and economy is washed away. And over time, it just gets covered with the next layer
Yep.
of debris,
I know.
you
I
know?
think that they were talking about the colossi too. There's that one really famous one of the man who is reaching down, and he has, it looks like dreadlocks in his hair and his beard. And there is some, I mean, there is very detailed musculature on the leg, but it looks like some of the stone has fallen away. And the one guy was talking about how, look at how there's this coloration here and how it fell away. You can actually, if you know the details of anatomy, you can see the bone structure, you can see the
Yeah,
tendon attachments. You can see, so something happened where these individuals, I'm not going to put a label on it because it's going to, people are going to like
yeah,
disconnect from the idea that they were a version of what humans were, and that they were somehow overtaken, subdued, and placed in positions where they were petrified. And I don't think it
Yep.
was a slow process. It was something that was
Instant.
instantaneous.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this guy,
Solidified everything.
yep, and this is where this guy, his website, or not his website, but his YouTube channel is Morgue, just like where you put the
Oh,
dead
so
bodies.
so
Morgue
is this
Official.
has
Is
come
he
up
was
twice
talking
now?
about Eve's secret daughter, and he was talking about the origins of humanity, because ultimately we're trying to figure out who we are. We're part of this
Yeah.
awakening process, and this is really important that we start becoming not just aware. We have to here comes the expletive. We have to fucking be taking everything by the balls. And women have balls. You might not be able to see them, but we got them. So we need everybody to just kind of grab on and pull them out and make it happen. And if it's got to happen within your life, you just have to figure out how to work that into your life to make this revelation, if you will, happen for as many people as possible, because that's going to be the key to the survival of humanity. Period. And it doesn't mean you have to quit your job and go live on a hill. That's not going to accomplish anything anyway for anybody. It's not
Yeah.
even going to save you. You might feel better maybe for a hot minute, but what are you going to do with that? I thought
Yeah.
about selling everything, getting an RV, and it's like, read between the lines. I'm not going to do that because I feel like that there's obviously something else that needs to happen before.
Yeah. Well, if you look at it, I mean, you got to look. Okay, there's a lot of values that you get from doing all that and downscaling and living in a small vehicle, and but then you've got to look at the environment and what the government is doing. Are they closing down the camps? Are they making it harder for parts for vehicles? You've got to take into all of these different considerations. What's that actual community like? There are clicks and there's not clicks. There's newbies and then there's old veterans. It's like, and people are doing it at a later and later age and being found inside their sleeper vans on the side of the road dead.
Yep,
Not due to any interference, but natural causes. They went the way
yep,
that they wanted to, but then it's also dangerous because I've known, young couples to do the same thing in a camper van traveling throughout the country. Next minute, they're found shot inside their camper van,
oh,
you know, New Zealand. This stuff is real. This stuff is
yeah, it
is
is.
real. For me, it was like, you get out there and you ask the questions. Yes, I was that kid that was like, yes, I want to know more. Give me the answers so that I can, no, that class.
Yeah, yeah,
Grabbing the class from learning the dictation.
yeah,
Anyway, and it was like, okay, well, if you're one of these kids that look out the window and you know that there's a better future out there than there is in the classroom, well, good on you because I'm there too. And learning off the land and learning from the people working the land and all these different things like the different machinery, the different technologies. We're programmed to believe that we're a failure if we have more than one skill. If you have to get the skill by going to two or three jobs, then you can't hold down one job because you've had two or three to get to the skill that you got to. And it's like, well, what's wrong with this picture? Back in the day, if I wanted to learn a trade, I'll go to that trader and I'll say, look, this is what I can give you. Boom. And this is where, apprenticeships came in.
yeah,
Thralls used to live at the foot of um, somebody with a skill so they could learn the skill. And they learned from the bottom up, literally living on the floor next to the fireplace, collecting that wood, chopping it, and starting that fire so that the teacher could teach them.
yeah.
And we also, our cultures, we had walkabouts, we had rituals, rituals of passage, age of passage. And this was done, you get to a certain age, whether you're a female or a male, and you go walkabout with the men folk or the women folk. You learn the medicine plants. If you're with a tribe everybody in the tribe needs to know how to do this. And this is where my Amazon, where the native part comes from, is it wasn't just the women who learnt this task or the men who learnt the task. It was the
Right.
whole tribe from
Yes.
a very early age,
Yep.
so that if you were caught out on your own, you would know what you needed to survive. And we don't have that anymore. Instead, they have the video games, they have mind-sucking energy vampires, and we live in a reality now where all the unseen is becoming seen.
So all of the two that and I that's an excellent point where you're talking about this whole the survival and the ancient ways, and it feels like that we're possibly getting back to that, and there's a big push here for people to get back into the trades, I've always encouraged my kids because they're not college learners. And I could see that from the get-go. My son is both of my kids are self-taught in whatever they
Yeah.
do. They excel in the things that they do. And this is how quick this disconnection with our abilities to learn quickly and learn tasks that are relevant to our
Yeah.
not even survival but just enrichment. You have to admit that having that knowledge and developing that skill is not gratifying. It feels good.
Yeah.
So if you put it into a contemporary perspective, a short few number of decades ago, well, my dad's teaching me how to change my own oil on my very
Yeah.
first car, how to rotate the tires, how to change a
Yeah.
flat tire,
Yeah.
how to change back in the day when we had spark plugs, how to do